Hello, so today I will be doing video assignment number 2 where I will be showing how to properly dress a wound. So the first thing that we need to do is be sure to prevent any disease transmission, and that will be by using our gloves, and how to properly use those is in video assignment number 1. So put on our gloves, and like in that video, it's important that gloves are latex free because you don't want to affect an individual's allergies on top of a traumatic injury that might have just occurred. So what we're gonna do is, once we have on our gloves, we need to then assess the scene and make sure it's safe. And then once we do that, it's time to do a victim assessment. However, we need to obtain consent from the victim to make sure that it's okay for us to try and help. And then in addition to that, we then need to look at the wounds that they may have and decide like what the proper treatment is for those wounds. So in today's video, my husband's arm is going to be the model, and we're going to pretend that he has an open wound on his arm. So first things first, the primary step in anything like this would be to control the bleeding if it's just a lot of bleeding. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the dressing, appropriate dressing, and put it on the bleeding wound. A couple things here. And a dressing can go directly on a wound, so it needs to be clean and it needs to be sterile. So once the dressing is placed on the wound, then you need to apply pressure to this until the bleeding has stopped. And once the bleeding is slowed and stopped, then you need to continue to apply pressure, and then take a bandage. Once we do that, rolling away. So once we do that, we're going to take a bandage, and I have like a roller gauze bandage, and we need to secure the dressing. So how we do that is we continue to apply pressure to the wound as we do this. So we take the roller and you start the end furthest from heart. So do that, and we are going to start applying the bandage. Continue applying pressure. And you need to continue to wrap all the way along the dressing to be able to secure it properly. And once you make it all the way down to the end, you want to, for good measure, go back across and continue with the pressure to ensure that the bleeding will stay stopped. And for the sake of this video, we're just going to use up all of this. So in these instances, you can tie off your bandage if you have it, but I have some adhesive tape, and take the tape. So sorry, one second. And take the tape. And properly secure the bandage so that it will not come loose. I don't know if you can see the tape, but so then do that to secure the dressing and then the bandage. Also, the bandage also needs to be clean, but it does not have to be sterile because it never comes in direct contact with the wound itself. So also another thing is once this is in place and it's all nice, secure, and wrapped up, if bleeding were to then break through and bleed through the dressing that you've already applied, it's important to just at that point just add another dressing on top to try and minimize the bleeding and just continue applying pressure. And if the bleeding continues and it's a major wound that's not something that would heal on its own, might need sutures, just a traumatic, like really crazy accident or something like that, 911 would need to be called. And then once all of that has taken place, proper disposal of the contaminated supplies needs to happen. So like the back parts of the bandages, the packages that things came in, things like that, all need to be disposed of in a good little plastic baggie. And so the same way that we took our gloves off in the first video would need to happen again. So just any contaminated supplies that were used, put them in the bag, and then do the same with your gloves to appropriately dispose of them. So once you do that, you have appropriately and properly dressed a wound.